Good Wednesday morning, everybody. I'm Dave Furtado.
And I'm meteorologist Jefferson Donovan.
And welcome to Keep Her Quick, your latest local news and weather commercial free in about 16 minutes or less. We're going to jump right over to weather, though, because Jefferson, despite the copy and paste on the temperature side of things, clouds are rolling in.
That's right. I still believe we are going to be escaping with some sunshine today, but partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies. As we take a look at our weather headlines today, I still have that first weather headline having the word sunny in there, but you should anticipate more clouds in our forecast area today than we have seen in days prior. But the heat is going to be all the same. Highs today for almost all of us will be climbing into the upper 90s to low 100s. In fact, there is a heat advisory in place for today, continuing through tomorrow. Now, tomorrow is going to be staying hot, but the biggest headline on Thursday won't be with temperatures. It will actually be with a chance of thunderstorms arriving to the forecast area, and we will hold on to a chance of thunderstorms even as we go through Friday, and then the weekend is trending calmer and cool. We'll talk about these weather headlines more coming up.
Thanks, Jefferson. We begin this morning in the courtroom. A man who admitted to beating his infant son, which resulted in his death, is now heading to prison after pleading guilty. Jose Rosas Olivo was sentenced to 25 years in prison after he pled guilty to homicide by abuse in Benton County Superior Court for the death of his 6-week-old son, JR, in 2021. Now, Benton County prosecutors say Olivo confessed to having engaged in a pattern of ongoing physical abuse of his son, which ultimately led to the child's death. And a call to 911 about an accidental gunshot in the back turned out to be something else when Benton County Sheriff's deputies arrived. Deputies say a 19-year-old woman was taken to the hospital by ambulance and underwent surgery for her injuries. They say she did not cooperate when they tried to find out exactly how she was shot. After further investigations, deputies determined it was a man who fired the gun and fled the scene, but she wouldn't give his name. Benton County Sheriff's deputies continue to investigate. And on to a major development in a 27-year-old cold case involving the murder of a 13-year-old Pasco girl. There's been an arrest. Anya Pelayo was shot to death on December 29th, 1997. She was last seen using a payphone at a Pasco apartment complex around midnight that night. Her body was discovered off Taylor Flats Road, just north of the Pasco city limits. Investigators believe 2 people are responsible for her murder, and at the time 28-year-old who died of an overdose in 2018, and another man who was 24 at the time, now 51. He was arrested yesterday. Investigators say advancements in DNA and resubmitting evidence led them back to the 51-year-old who was a person of interest at the time of the murder.
To all those who've worked Anna's case over the past 27 years, which is longer than probably most of you in the back have been alive, and especially to those who helped putting these final pieces together. Ramona Ramos, you amaze me. You're Anna's age. I could see Anna in you, and I know you took her case to heart. And I want to thank you all for keeping her picture up. She's very beautiful. She'll always be my big sister, but as I grew up and I passed 13 and everything that I went through, we never gave up hope.
Now, from the Franklin County Sheriff's Office perspective, they say it's a huge relief to solve this for Anna's family and say this case led to a shift in how they investigate certain situations.
And as I expressed to Anna's mom, Chris, just a bit ago, we really don't know how many lives Anna saved because it shifted the mindset of law enforcement to take runaway situations serious and to look for causal factors in why you have these changes in behaviors with adolescents and how you can help look for some of those root issues to prevent stuff like this happening.
Now, as far as a motive for the murder, the Sheriff's Office wouldn't go into that at this time. You can read much more about the story over on our website, keepertv.com. And on to some fire season coverage. Several fires sparked east of Prosser in Benton County. They're now under control, and firefighters are making sure the fire doesn't flare back up. State Route 221 was closed for several hours while firefighters worked to bring that situation under control, but it is now back open. The fire started just before 2:30 yesterday afternoon, and by 5 o'clock, more than half a dozen helicopters and airplanes were at the scene, dropping water and assisting crews on the ground. So far, we haven't heard of any injuries or structures lost, but we will continue to keep you updated as we learn more. And in Walla Walla County, what's being called the Scenic Fire is now contained. It was burning near the city of Walla Walla around the area of South Fork Russell Creek Road near McKay Grade Road and Harrier Hill. At last report, it had burned about 100 acres in grass, tree, and crops. It was threatening some homes, which resulted in some level 3 evacuations, which have been reduced to level 2 be ready evacuations. State fire assistance has been mobilized to help with that fire. So far, fire leaders aren't sure how that fire started. And with that, we're going to jump right over to meteorologist Jefferson Donovan to talk the weather for today. Jefferson, we've had those fires. Fortunately, the firefighters have gotten a handle on the ones kind of in our neck of the woods. And over in Kittitas County, things are improving on those fires as well. But as we see the heat today and then the rainy conditions tomorrow, things seem to be kind of like a little bit of a hindrance and then a little bit of a help.
Well, I would say that the big fear tomorrow isn't necessarily that, or I should say the big fear tomorrow won't be around rain, but it will be around thunderstorms, potentially leading to more fires. Of course, whenever we're talking about lightning with how hot and dry it's been, we're always going to have that inherent fire risk. In fact, there is a red flag warning in place for today in parts of our viewing area that we will discuss in a moment. First, though, here's a look at temperatures. The hot conditions have enabled fires to start rather easily. High temperatures for today are going to stay sweltering. Look for temperatures to climb up to around 105 degrees in the Tri-Cities today. Upper 90s to low 100s coming for the Yakima Valley today. Upper 90s to low 100s in the Kittitas Valley, with upper 90s to low 100s for the Blue Mountain foothills. There will be a mixture of sunshine and clouds overhead today, but again, these temperatures are still going to be very hot. A heat advisory has actually been issued for all areas in this orange color until 11 p.m. Thursday, as we could be looking at high temperatures between 95 and 105 degrees. Today is going to be hotter than tomorrow, but high heat is still going to continue through tomorrow, and that is why the heat advisory is in place for, again, today and tomorrow. Now, the big story as we go into tomorrow won't necessarily be the heat. It will be a chance of showers and thunderstorms. Let's talk about thunderstorm potential for today. A vast majority of the region will be staying calm today. Again, calm and hot for most of us with just a few more clouds overhead, but there is going to be a possibility of thunderstorms developing along the Cascade Ridgeline this afternoon, and that is going to bring some of those heightened fire concerns. In fact, a red flag warning has been issued for the Cascades of Kittitas and Yakima counties from 1 p.m. this afternoon until 9 p.m. this evening because of the possibility of abundant lightning over dry fuel. And I should note that any thunderstorms that develop today also could bring erratic wind. So if a fire was to start because of a lightning strike, that fire could spread rather quickly. Now let's talk about what is to come as we go into Thursday and Friday. Again, tomorrow is still going to be very warm, but we are going to bring chances of thunderstorms around the forecast area. Showers and thunderstorms possible for everyone on Thursday. Not everyone will see a shower or thunderstorm, just those chances will exist. And then as we head into Friday, a similar story. Everyone will at least have the opportunity for showers and thunderstorms as we go through Friday. As we take a look at the thunderstorm outlooks produced by the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma, my theory is supported, or at least my thoughts are supported. Everyone in our forecast area on Thursday is under that light shade of green, which means showers and thunderstorms will be possible around the region. And as we head into Friday, again, showers and thunderstorms possible around the region for the final day of the work week. Not everyone will see showers and thunderstorms, just keep a head up and go inside. When thunder roars, go indoors. That is something you should keep in mind as we get towards Thursday and Friday. For right now, I'm going to throw it back over to Dave.
Solid advice there. Thank you so much, Jefferson. And we're going to switch gears here because hundreds of voters in Washington's 4th Congressional District lit up the phone lines to ask Congressman Dan Newhouse a few questions about in his first town hall since being reelected in 2024. KIMA's John Franklin tells us more.
Again, this is Congressman Dan Newhouse. I want to welcome you to my live telephone town hall this evening. I'd like to get to as many questions as possible this evening, so let's get started.
Some people, like Dan from the Tri-Cities, had some serious concerns about the big, beautiful bill that Newhouse voted for, specifically regarding Medicaid.
I'm having a hard time understanding how you think the big, beautiful bill is actually good when almost everybody who's analyzed this thing says it's going to add anywhere from $2.5 to $4 trillion to the deficit. And the bill also cuts out $700 billion from Medicaid. And millions of people are going to lose their insurance coverage. So what leads you to believe that this is good?
We're going to encourage work in this country, which used to be a good thing. The work ethic is something that we value. And if somebody's going to be benefiting from the American taxpayer and they're able to work, then they should. And that's going to not only save the Medicaid system a tremendous amount of money, but I think it's going to do some really good things for our community and for the individual that we're talking about.
Some people pointed towards specific sources behind the facts that they found, again regarding Medicaid and the big beautiful bill.
Looking at the Becker Hospital report, I'm looking at the CBO reports, and all of them, talk about how the $1 trillion in Medicaid cuts is not going to be even minimally reduced by a $50 billion allocation that is temporary, by the way, and only half of it will be spread out equally. We're going to have to compete with red states that are favored by the Trump administration for any of that money. So I guess my question is, what are you going to do to stand up to these cuts that benefit the uber wealthy instead of people in rural America?
Right. There are some organizations that are projecting a huge increase in our national debt because of passage of the bill. And then there are others that take issue with that. If you look, all you have to do is tweak some of the projections, and you get a whole different outcome. Growth in GDP can be impacted by a lot of different levers, and so I'm not. If we look back at 2017, I'm not sure that what they're saying, because they predicted the same thing back then. We saw tremendous growth in our economy because of the passage of the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. This bill, had I not voted to support that, would have increased all Americans' taxes. And by passing it, we give a tax cut or preserve the tax cut that was passed in 2017 for almost all Americans.
For Action News, I'm John Franklin.
KMA's John Franklin, thank you. Over in Yakima, city council members are trying to raise funds to deal with a $9 million budget shortfall projected for 2026. Their solution? They want voters to approve a tax increase levy. Council members approved the levy to be on the November ballot, which, if passed by voters, is expected to generate $6 million in revenue. The next step for the levy is to appoint community members to prepare voter pamphlets for both sides of the ballot measure. This will be addressed on August 4th. City staff have come up with recommendations for the council to cut $2.5 million, which the council voted in favor for. And the Yakima Police Department is no longer offering the crime-free rental housing program. On July 24th, Yakima City Council members voted to stop funding that program. The service has been around for more than a decade, and it created a partnership between the police department, landlords, and tenants that helps streamline communication if crime happens on a property. Prosser and Walla Walla have similar programs. And on to some education news this morning. The Trump administration is releasing the billions of dollars withheld in federal education grants by the Department of Education. KIMA's Aiden Connor spoke with officials about how the release of these funds could affect the Yakima Valley.
On July 1st, the Trump administration announced that more than $6 billion in federal education grants would be withheld, causing education systems and officials across the country to panic.
They're greatly needed, they were promised, and then just sort of pull them away when schools have already budgeted. That'd be really unfair to students and just the entire community.
However, this past weekend, the Trump administration released the withholdings, allowing schools around the country to utilize the federal funds.
Well, I was very happy because every dollar counts. Every single dollar counts.
In the Yakima Valley, many school districts would have taken a significant hit by the federal freeze. Sunnyside Superintendent Ryan Maxwell, along with the rest of the district, raised concerns when the funds were initially withheld.
We pay about 20 staff members with the funds, as well as support our migrant students throughout the district. So the loss of those funds would severely impair our ability to fully support all of our students.
Had the withholdings not been released, the Sunnyside School District would have had $4.9 million impacted by the freeze, with the entire state of Washington seeing a decrease of $137 million in federal funding, according to the Washington Office of Superintendent and Public Instruction. It's safe to say that Maxwell was relieved at the decision to release these withholdings.
Now that we're receiving the funds, the opposite is true, and we have now been able to retain our staff and retain the high quality service for our migrant students, which we're very excited to be able to do.
Yakima School Board candidate Jonathan Babcock told me that in Yakima, education is a shared value and that funding must be timely, equitable, and protected from political disruptions. Reporting for Action News, I'm Aiden Connor.
Aiden Connor, thank you. The Yakima School Board did host a business meeting last night to discuss their funding. We will have more on that meeting in tonight's KIMA newscast. And a traffic alert for folks traveling over the Columbia River. There will be some lane reductions and ramp closures the next 2 days on U.S. Bridge 395. It's the Blue Bridge. The signs have been up since Monday. The restrictions will be in place so crews can conduct bridge inspections and maintenance work. On Wednesday, the southbound right lane and southbound ramp will be closed from 9 in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. And then on Thursday, the northbound right lane and northbound ramp will be closed from 9 until 3:30. And Wednesdays in West Richland is making a return starting today. It's put on by the West Richland Chamber of Commerce at Flat Top Park, and it will include live music, a car show featuring over 50 cars, food trucks, local vendors, and new this year, a beer garden. In addition to the day, there will be 2 more days scheduled. That one will be August 13th and on August 27th. The event will run from 4:30 in the afternoon until dusk. And that does it for us. Thank you for watching this episode of Keeper Quick. For more local news and weather, you can head over to our websites, Keeper and KIMATV.com, as well as our Facebook pages. But while you're here, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up with our latest mini newscasts Monday through Friday. Have a whimsical Wednesday, everybody.